Okay, we've got 5 minutes before the official session starts, so we just wait for a few more minutes until exactly 5, and then we'll start.
And maybe we'll just ask for somebody to say hi, just in case, you know, so that we know that you're hearing us.
Yep. Just to make sure, if you can't hear me, please let me know. Send us the chat, a message. Okay. Oh, good. So they are hearing us.
That's good.
Okay. It's exactly 5 o'clock, so we'll start now. Thank you for joining with us today for the special end of year single touch payroll sessions. In today's webinar, we are specifically focused on the practicality of single touch payroll solutions within GovReports. And presenting today's sessions, I have the honor of having Deborah Thompson, a practitioner who has been exploring not just GovReports single touch payroll application, but also other STP software, and presented her view and the use of this software on the ITB platform and its members. Deborah will explore the options and details of how the system works for her and how it could work for you in practice, and making the most of the opportunity to run your practice smoothly and efficiently with these new reporting obligations. Before we start, and for me to pass on to Deborah, just a little bit of housekeeping to ensure everyone will have good experience attending these sessions. You will ensure that everyone have good experience. So if everyone will be muted except for the presenter. If during the sessions you have questions, send us the questions on chat, or on chat, and myself or Deb will attend to either either reply by chat or during the questions time. And in saying that, I hope everyone can hear me well. For those signing in from the computer, for best sound quality, a headphone is recommended. Regardless, this session is recorded, so you can revisit at your convenience if you have missed a question or section. So without further ado, I will now pass the control of the microphone over to Deborah to start the webinar.
Thank you, Tiana. That's very kind of you. It's a very nice lead up to it. So hi, everybody. We are going to be talking about GovReports and single touch payroll. And of course, anyone who knows me knows that I am a huge fan of GovReports. So I was really very excited and pleased to see that they were going to give me a solution for my small clients. So we're going to talk about the ATO and single touch payroll, GovReports and single touch payroll, one of GovReports solutions, the IAM Ledger, which you're able to use, and GovReports lodgement. Let's begin. So the ATO and single touch payroll. Now, I am not technical as far as obviously writing the software, but my understanding is that this is one of the requirements of the ATO, that they want to have all of these different types of payment summaries and information about wages and salaries as part of single touch payroll. So these are all the different areas that you can do through GovReports and single touch payroll. So, you know, the individual person, the different, you know, the holiday makers, the voluntary agreement payment summaries, all those are available for the employee. There's also, of course, the declaration from the employer's side, and there is the opportunity for us as BAS and tax agents to be able to lodge on our client's behalf. So there's that declaration as well. Do you need more time? So the first thing I'm going to ask you is, do you need more time? Obviously, it's about starting on the 1st of July if you have larger clients with larger, you know, payrolls. But if you can't start, you're just not ready, or you've got too many clients to actually make sure that they're all working properly, you are able to ask for a deferral from the ATO. So it is available for agents to apply for their own deferrals, so to cover all of their clients, whereas the client obviously can just apply for their own deferral if they want to change, you know, systems or what they're doing. So it is available, and it just needs to be lodged through your portal. So STP and the employers and the employees, there is a resource available from the ATO for understanding the next steps for you to be able to give to your clients to let them know what's happening with Single Touch Payroll, and there's also one there that they can pass on to their employees to let them know what's happening with Single Touch Payroll. Basically, as I'm sure you are aware, they're not changing what they have to do with their pays. The idea is that everyone is getting paid exactly the same. It's just the addition of sending the information through to the ATO. So the employees are also expected, they don't have to, it's not compulsory, but the ATO would like them all to have a MyGov account. And that MyGov account is where they'll be able to view their year-to-date tax and super online. But of course, that hasn't stopped the pay slip. It is still a requirement by Fair Work for them to get their pay slip. So this is just going to be additional, that they can look at their year-to-date and super online. And of course, the MyGov is going to be providing the payment summaries. Once you start using Single Touch Payroll, then of course the reconciliations and everything are the same for payroll. But what you don't have to do at the end is to provide a payment summary. The tax information eventually will be pre-filled. So I guess this first year is going to be their testing year of how that works. But because they're getting that information on every pay, then they are going to be able to pre-fill that tax information. They're not going to have to wait for an empty file. So what does it mean for practitioners? So it is the next step in the payroll reporting. It doesn't change really how the employer's payroll, their information, their business report. It only changes what you're telling the ATO and when you're telling the ATO. So as from the 1st of July, employers with 20 or more staff, and they are supposed to have counted their staff on the 1st of April. And if they had 20 or more that day, then they are supposed to start this year unless they have, you know, a deferral from, they've applied for their own deferral, or they have a deferral from software companies or agents. It is all software based, and it's never, my understanding is that it's never going to be available through our business, our tax and BAS agent portals, whereas this GovReports has the advantage that it is going to be able to do it. And as I said, the deferrals are available. The information that we are sending through as a pay event, and that's what the ATO have called a pay run. Basically, they're calling it a pay event, and you're going to be telling the ATO when they have a pay event. What you are telling them is you're telling them the gross wages year to date, the allowances, and again, that can be divided up into many allowances year to date, depending on what the employees receive, your PAYGW year to date, and the superannuation accrued year to date. And of course, that is for eventual matching with from the super funds of what has been paid. But it is, of course, all year to date figures. When you lodge the pay event, you lodge it every pay run. Payroll categories are matched to the ATO. So if you would normally put it in the gross wages part of the payment summary, then you're going to do exactly the same in Single Touch Payroll. And again, if the allowances were always separated out, then again, they're going to be separated out in Single Touch Payroll. But one of the, I think, important things for us all to get our head around is that the ATO is expecting you to report on the day that you pay someone, or prior to the day that you pay someone, but not after the pay run. So that really does perhaps put a bit of emphasis on, you know, finding out when all of our clients actually do their pay runs and how we're going to deal with that. The end of the year is going to be a lot simpler in that you're still going to be doing all your reconciliation that you have always done before. It's just a matter of a tick for each employee that it is their final pay event for the year. And then that tells the ATO to send the payment summaries to MyGov. As I mentioned, it is starting from the 1st of July if you have 20 or more employees. And if you have less than 20 employees, it is supposed to be starting on the 1st of July 2019. Now, the ATO are happy for you to start whenever you like. So you don't have to wait till the 1st of July. And certainly my plan is for my smaller clients, I'm looking, and I'm going to perhaps wait until September, but I'm looking then to onboard a couple of clients a month so that by the 1st of July 2019, I have all of my clients working with single touch payroll. That's my plan. Of course, you have the option of leaving all your clients till the 1st of July. So one of the things that you really need to do is to make sure that the clients have all their employee details, obviously the name, and that's the legal name that they have, not what you know we might call them, but what is their legal name? What does the ATO know them as? Their TFN, their address, their phone number, their date of birth, and each employee needs a unique ID. And in Gov Reports, it does create that. So there's no change to the payroll timing. So there's no expectation that people will change how they have paid their payroll, their employees. But a pay event must contain at least one employee record. So if, for example, there's a out of sequence, if you like, pay run done because of a bonus or something like that, then that is considered to be a pay event that you still need to notify the ATO, but as long as there's at least one employee record. Now, Tiana, we have a poll, and I'm going to let you pick which poll it is. Oh, okay, I lost my screen. So, do you have clients with single touch payroll obligations from this July? So we're just interested on everyone that's online, whether you've got clients that you will be you're starting STP from this year, from next week, in fact. Okay, all right, so we've got 80% voted. Tiana, can you give us the result of that? I'm not quite sure where the GoToWebinar actually shows the result.
We'll go through that after, Deb. So it's now 82%. Yeah. So we give it 30 more seconds before we close the vote,
okay.
The poll.
All right. You're in charge of the poll, so we'll be led by you.
Okay, we're now closing the poll.
And so, why have I lost my screen? We have got 90% of you have under 5 clients, and really that, I guess, was my expectation, that most of you would be looking at Gov Reports if you had those smaller clients and micro clients, because I know that it was my stress of how I was going to deal with them until I found out that Gov Reports is making it possible for us. So let's look at Gov Reports and single touch payroll. To lodge the ATO reports, including the single touch payroll, ATO, you have to nominate who you're using to do single touch payroll. Now, your clients don't need an Oz key. They can call up the ATO and nominate Gov Reports to be doing it. My understanding is that the business has to do it first before the tax or BAS agent then does it for their authority. But again, I think one of the things I think with this is because most of us do have less than 5 clients that are starting. Most of our clients are going to be starting next year. We have the chance to give a little bit of time to see what happens in this first couple of months of single touch payroll and what changes the ATO will make to the requirements. So with Gov Reports solutions, you can do the data entry for the employees and their pay details directly online to, like you always, in all of the other things that you can do with Gov Reports, you can add the information. If you've got a client with 2 employees, you can go and put that information in there, each pay, and roll over the option. You can upload a CSV file format, and you can upload in XML, and other file formats are going to be added over time. Again, I think Gov Reports, again, are testing it and just seeing what's happening. So keep your eye out about the solutions and how they will change, because I do believe that they will absolutely change between now and next July. Also too, depending on your agreement with Gov Reports, depending on how you pay for the package, whether you have the Savvy or the on-demand packages, there are going to be choices for both, so that it's going to be unlimited lodgements of single touch payroll if you have the Savvy package, and there is going to be a low subscription fee if you're doing the on-demand. So again, keep an eye out for those solutions with those different pricings. But if you've got the Savvy agent, you're going to be able to use it from day one. So Gov Reports also has interactive accounts management called IAM, and that's what the dashboard screen looks like. It is available for you to use for your small clients, and it's a package that has, as you can see, it's got banking, sales, purchases, accounts. It's like a very small accounting software for small clients, but the big thing, of course, now is that it is going to have the facility to do single touch payroll. So we're going to have a look at both the interactive and then if you're doing it directly into Gov Reports. So Tiana, another poll. I don't know, pick whichever one you like. So are your clients using old versions of software? Because that's another reason that where you have perhaps clients don't want to upgrade, they don't want to pay the subscription fees. Is that the case? Or, for example, I've got one client who says they're going to retire in the next couple of years, so they don't want to be buying software. And I totally understand where they're coming from. Or, in fact, they've got, one employee and sort of they don't want to be paying big subscription fees. So I think I have got about 6 or 7 at least that are on old versions of software. Tiana.
Okay, we have almost 82% voted, so we wait until another 15 more seconds and then we'll close the poll.
Okay. So quiet. I'm not used to not talking.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Okay. Okay. So we've got the same. We've got 43% that they're not using old software. We've got 50% of you that you've got clients that some of them are using old software, and only 7% of you have got most. So we certainly do try and always get our clients to, to upgrade, especially when there's things that they're going to use, and make their life easier. But some people don't want to for whatever reason. So let's have a look at IAM Ledger. When you go into Gov Reports and you go and pick the digital authentication, or you pick your Office Manager to do your practice software, you will have seen that IAM little logo. So that is what Interactive Accounts Manager is. So benefits of using it: it's secure, it's cloud, it's online application. So again, you won't have to worry about upgrading because it's just there, and you won't have to, worry about getting software onto machines. Streamline the process of reporting to the ATO, and of course that means that it's in the cloud. You can use it from any machine. So if you are at your clients, you can use it from there. It's user-friendly, and it is. I have been playing with it for the last few days, and for a couple of weeks now, and it is quite friendly towards you. And of course, you've got Ledger access. So how STP works. So if we're just using it for the payroll, we start the payroll, we add our employees, and that is called onboarding. And that's the ATO's definition, that they've changed it to this onboarding. So basically it sets up the employees with all their TFNs and what sort of occupation, etc., that they're in. Then we do a pay run, and again, we obviously pay our employees. We publish those payroll events, and then those published payroll events go across to Gov Reports, and they import it, and of course it verifies that it's all correct and that it's all, you know, hunky-dory. Terrible word for me to use, but there, sends it to the ATO, and then of course you get a lodgement receipt, which is what we want to be able to supply to our clients. So with the payroll in the IAM, you add the personal and contact details, and again, that's where it's got the onboarding. Then in the payroll events, you're doing a pay run. You might be doing a termination as well. And then for tax agents and financial advisors, they may do something with the superannuation. I am not, you know, totally up to date with superannuation, but there is the lump sum or the income stream that you are able to define to the ATO, and of course then payroll payments. How do you access single touch payroll? Well, on the dashboard you just go to payroll, and then you select the payroll events or payroll payment, depending on what you want. So you've got your payroll payments, your employees, and you've also got your pay slip, your employee terminations, your superannuation. And the pay slip, creating the pay slip is how IAM has really defined doing a pay run, because you're creating a pay slip, but you're actually also creating all that information for the pay run. So you add the employees, of course, and you then select payroll. You create this little red button that's there the first time you see it. You create new employees. You add their details, their declaration, the display name, the choices. You get a choice, is what I'm trying to say, of how you'd like to display that name on the pay slip. So if it is different how people are called, you can do that. The date of birth, the employee number, and that's going to be automatically supplied for STP in IAM. Email details, bank details, because again, of course, you can send pay slips from IAM, and then all the onboarding information. So the screens look like this, a pretty simple one, and then your onboarding. And what you might notice here is we've got profile, payroll details, declaration. That declaration is this onboarding. And again, you've got their bank details and addresses and notes, all that information. So that onboarding, as I mentioned before, you've got an occupation code. Again, it's what the ATO want to see, and so it very much is easy for you to define what they're doing. So then this is what an employee profile looks like. So you can have an overview, their name, their contact details, their TFN, those sorts of things, or you can look at the transactions, and it'll give you a list of all the transactions that you've done. So if you've done the whole year's payroll, it's going to give all of that information. And again, then it has a status right down here on the bottom where it says paid or sent or lodged. So all of that information is going to be very available for you to find. Then generating your pay slip. As I mentioned, you go into your pay slip and create a pay slip, which is a new pay event. You can also go through the payroll register, where that's just got a plus sign, and when you click on that, it'll take you to creating a pay slip. Or you can go through the employee listing that we just saw on the screen before, where you can see the payroll button. So to create the pay event, you select the employee. You obviously put the date, the period that the pay is for, the PAYG type. So again, that, are they an individual? Are they a holiday maker? What sort of PAYG type? Their frequency, their hours, the BAS, the basic pay, the PAYG, the super, add allowances, tick if the PAYG and the super are appropriate. So if you add the basic gross pay, it will actually work out the tax and the super for you. Add any deductions and any attachments. So if you've got timesheets or what have you, you can actually attach those to it. So again, this is what the pay slip looks like. And this section there is where you have got the weekly wage. So if you put the total hours and the base pay in there, it will automatically then work out your PAYG tax and your superannuation, and of course it's going to be up to date with the tax tables as well. And then, as you can see over on this green side, this side where they've got little green buttons, there you can add allowances and deductions if that's what the employee has. So then when you go back to payroll events, it is going to show you each payroll event, each pay slip that you have done for your employees, and it's going to give you the status. So again, you've got draft, you've got partially paid, you've got sent, you've got paid, so that you can make sure that you know exactly where you are up to with the payroll. Then this is a pay slip. That is what gets sent to the employees, and that information then goes over to the Gov reports. But if you have terminations or if you have superannuation, then you also have the facility to add those as well. So the superannuation income stream, and as I said, I am not a tax agent, so I'm not really up to date with this, but if they're getting a taxable component of a lump sum for super income stream, you can advise on through IM Ledger, and the same with the lump sum, that if they are getting their super fund where they've retired and they're getting their pay, if you like, from the super fund, then again you can advise the tax office through IAM. So if you have the employment termination payments, again, then this is what the first screen says, you know, it's time to record them, and then it gives you a simple screen to add if there's any termination. So again, redundancy, lump sum D, lump sum A, all of those are available for you to put that information in. And then we have the income stream. Again, so that if you've got the taxable component of a lump sum, you're able to put that information into here so that it is notified to the tax office, and then the same with the superannuation lump sum. So the other one was the income stream, sorry, this one was the lump sum. So again, it's able to make sure that all the things you need to report, you're able to. Then you generate the single touch payroll reports by going into reports, and there's going to be 4 different reports: the payroll summary, the PAYG payment summary, annual report, your payroll transaction journals, and there's one there called STP. You will be able then to publish the payroll, and then that will take it across to Gov reports. And so you have all the information kept in IM Ledger, and of course you can have different accounts for different clients. So then here's a report status. Once it's been lodged and sent, then it comes back and gives you that information in IM Ledger that it has been lodged. So you're always going to know when you look at it what the status is of your payrolls. So Tiana, is there questions that you could answer or that we need to talk about?
Okay, there are quite a few questions, so I will start from the very beginning.
Okay.
So first question that I think this is started from the very beginning. So Amanda Woodley, she has a question. I have a client that has 2 businesses and only 1 ABN. They currently use Xero, and combined need to use Xero. So need to use, hang on, sorry, it's moving, to use STP. Currently, lodge joint IAS and BAS. Can you tell me how they need to be lodged for STP? So in other words, 1 ABN, 2 businesses.
I was under the impression that if there's 1 ABN, they can be lodged as 1, or they can be lodged as 2. Tiana, do you, because you're probably more expert than me.
So in terms of payroll, they the payroll details need to be combined as 1 pay event and can be reported.
Tiana, as long as the business is running in a single branch, two businesses are running in a single branch, then they have to submit as a single, for the single ABN lodgements.
Yes, so that's what
Yes, I
I
agree. Yeah,
thought.
agree.
Yeah.
So if they have different branches, Amanda, then it's a separate payroll. But if it's one branch, then it has to be a combined pay event. Then I have a next question, which is from Jennifer Creasy. How do you take off the salary sacrifice amount? Gosh, it's moving.
Salary sacrifice.
Sorry, Jennifer. Sorry, it's moving. How you take off the salary sacrifice amount for not-for-profit, because this lowers the gross pay, not just the super amount. Not just the
Now,
super amount.
I believe that, and again, I'm sure Sandy can tell me whether I'm right or wrong, but I believe the ATO is still working some of that out.
That's right, Debbie. It's still under discussion, I think so.
Yeah, so, and that's perhaps another reason why, even though we might want to start right now, it might be a good idea to wait for a couple of months if you don't have to start and see whether these things are sorted out. Tiana, next question.
Okay, next questions from Roger Woodward, and does have cash flow implication for some clients. Just checking, sorry, I'm not too sure where that's coming from. That might be a break in between. I'll just go to the next questions. If an employee goes over 20 employees during the financial year 2019, is it mandatory for employers to register for STP? From Ingrid.
I don't believe so. It all had to do with how many you counted on the 1st of April. And if you didn't have 20 on the 1st of April, I believe you don't have to start. But I would probably suggest to you that if they are starting to creep up, that they would be better off starting when they got to the 20 than waiting. But I believe they can wait. Tiana, have you got any different opinion on that?
I agree. Okay, we go to the next question because we do have a lot of questions. We just answer 2 more questions, and then perhaps some of these questions, if we can't answer you during this webinar sessions, we will then go, we'll answer you separately post the sessions. I have another question from Leanne Ruff, and what about the really small company whose only employee is the director or shareholder? These do not necessarily do weekly or regular wages. So how do we lodge on or before a pay event for these businesses?
Look, this is another thing that my understanding is that the ATO still haven't made a decision on. That they have been, all of these sorts of things have been brought to their attention and they really haven't yet considered it, because they're, I guess, just trying to deal with all the people with 20 or more. So please, keep coming back to Tiana's Facebook and everything and see, and I'm sure the guys will let you know when we do have some decisions about these things. Okay. Sandy, would you have a different opinion?
No, Deborah, it's all good. I mean, so as long as for now, it's all with the basic base pay on the single touch payroll. So other than that, everything is under discussion under ATO.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, one last question, because before we jump on to the next steps. Question from Joy Bellinger. I have a client who prepares wages not on an accounting cloud versions each month, and I download a thumb drive at the beginning of each month. As this client is 100 kilometers from me, I only go out at the beginning of each month. So any suggestion as to how to handle the upload of the information for STP, as this client is required to register?
So my suggestion would be that they, I was going to say fax, but that really makes me sound old. They email you the wages for you to be able to upload it now. I mean, if they're over 20, they really haven't got they really don't have software. That sort of worries me. But yeah, my only suggestion is for them to email you that information, because the tax department at this moment, and again it could change, are very much pushing that you have to tell them when a pay is happening, not after the fact. So if they pay weekly, the ATO are wanting to hear about it weekly. But look, I know there's a lot of people out there pushing the ATO for a different answer to that.
Okay, Joy, from GovReport's point of view is that perhaps you can recommend them to IAM Business. At this stage, we have only the IAM Business, and we will soon be releasing the IAM Single Touch Payroll for the for IAM and for agents, for tax practitioners. So IAM Business, they can submit the payroll in there and push it over to you for lodgements. So like I said, it's the solution that we intended, so that clients can communicate with the agents directly for lodgement instead of them lodging it themselves.
And I think that's a great idea, Tiana, because also too it means that as an agent you've got some control, but you're not having to do all the data entry. So I would encourage that solution myself.
Yes. Okay. All right. We like I said, we do have a lot of questions post these questions, but we will attempt to answer all of them separately and privately to you. But for now, we move on to the next sessions.
Okay. So the next one is a poll, but we can jump past that if you think we need the time, Tiana. So the next question actually sort of follows on from that question. Do you have clients not using any payroll software but employ a few staff even sort of casually or occasionally? So again, they're the sorts of information that we need to take back to the ATO and say, look, all of these agents have, 10% of their staff that doesn't have payroll, and that makes a big difference, I think. Or the ATO, I believe, should pay attention to it. So
20 more seconds, Deb.
Okay. It's funny how 20 seconds sounds a lot longer when it's quiet.
Okay, we're ready to close the poll now.
Oh, I've got to click on the right thing. So that was 33% of you don't have or have clients that aren't using software. So I really think that's a really big percentage that the ATO needs to know about. I think that's, yeah. So thanks for everybody for answering. We do appreciate it. So let's look at GovReports and lodgements. So if this is just about using GovReports for those small micro clients that you have, or for using them with the IAM information coming into the GovReports. So the process in GovReports, again, obviously we're logging in as agents. We're selecting our client. We're then selecting Single Touch Payroll and the event, and we're either importing the information or we're manually filling, or we're having it pushed across from IAM Ledger, and we need to review and verify those details. Then we need to send for digital authorization, because of course that's really important. We haven't really mentioned that yet, is that the agent, when you're lodging, you need to have authorization to lodge. So it is extremely important, and at this stage, and I will say at this stage, the ATO is expecting an authority to lodge from every pay event. So you can't get a blanket authority for a month. If you've got 4 weeks in there, the ATO are expecting an authority for each lodgement. So then again, you're going to lodge the STP, the payroll event, and you're going to get the confirmation. So if you know GovReports, which I'm sure you all do, you'll see that, the select a client, that's just exactly the same. You go up to forms exactly the same as you always have. And now there's going to be a new section there that says STP payroll events. And once you do that, it's basically that 5-step process, so that the employer information, of course, is in there, the date that you're reporting for, so the period of the pays that you're reporting, and the total gross and the total tax withheld. Now this of course has the add facility. So you either import or add an employee, or you can, as I mentioned before, if you've got using the IAM, then clients can publish it and send that information to you via that, or you can, if you've been using the IAM, and you can publish it and then you submit. So you verify the employee's details. So each employee, their details are there, and what you'll see is there is a list of all the different types of payment summaries and different information that you may have depending on your employees. And what you need to do is you need to put in the dates of the pay run, and you need to put in, you need to pick what sort of summary. Is it an individual, non-business, which most of your wages are. So in that case, you verify the employee's details, you add the payroll run date, you select the summary payment type, and you put in the information. And as you'll see, the long list there. And onboarding, interestingly enough, I'm not quite sure why it's at the bottom, but everything I see like that is at the bottom, because I thought we had to do that. I guess because you only do it once for each employee. And then, so when you open up the individual, or whichever one you need to, the individual non-business payment summary, that's where you are putting their gross payments and their PAYGW. There are all these different other ones where you might choose. So again, they're all the same. Once you click on them, they open up and you can put their different information in there. So again, the voluntary agreement, if you have that, any of those with your employees, or if you have the working holiday makers or the foreign exempt, or again, you'll see with terminations, you've got the lump sum A, B, D and E. And then you also have a termination, which is here, where you can add the different ETP codes or whatever code it is that you need for the termination. You've got your lump sums here. Then you've also got allowances to add. So if they have a car allowance or they have a uniform allowance, that sort of thing. And then you also have in this section any deductions. So the deductions are the union fees or professional associations, that sort of information. And then the superannuation. So you'll see in this one with the super that you've got your superannuation guarantee amount, but you've also got your RESC. So that takes care of your salary sacrifice when you bring it across. And again, reportable fringe benefits. Now that, of course, you might only be putting that in once a year when you get that information from the accountant or whoever's doing, the FBT for the client. Again, the onboarding. So this is the information that the ATO needs. But again, this is where, you've got your tax file. What are they claiming the tax-free threshold? Do they have, are they a resident, that sort of thing. So again, that's coming from your tax file declaration. Then once you have got all the information and you've verified it, you then save and lodge. And so you can save as a draft, you can validate, you can lodge, like you always can in Gov reports, so that you can have that change, that option to get your client's authority. So you can save it as a draft, send it off to the client, get their authority, and then make sure that you have that information, have that authority before you lodge. You'll also see that you can come back into this first screen and you will have all of the employees in there, so that if, for example, the next once you do it once and set everybody up, the next payroll event, you can come in here and everybody will be listed. So then you can edit that information to put in the new week, month, pay, whatever pay it is. And then you will have a lodgement. And of course, because of the authority and because we are the third party as agents, then you do have the declaration there for the third party, so that you can get that signed. You can get your client to sign it, and then you've got the authority to lodge. And of course there is an errors button there too, which had been on the last couple of screens, so you can go in there and have a look if there are any errors. But of course you won't be able to lodge until you fix those up. So you can save it as a draft or save it and lodge. And then when it comes back from the ATO and the ATO have accepted it, we're going to get the lodgement receipt, which of course is important to keep and important to send to our clients. Now when we come to the end of the year, as I mentioned before, that we're not doing payment summaries, but what we will need to do is we'll still need to reconcile our gross wages, our allowances, our deductions, our PAY, GW, our superannuation. But as far as single touch payroll is concerned, basically all we need to do on that pay run in Gov Reports is tick that this is the final event for the year. And so we need to do that for each of our employees so that it is a final event. And then basically you start the next year. You just go from there. Questions, Tiana? Lost her. Okay. I lost everybody.
We do have a lot of questions, so I'll start. I will start from the top up or the bottom up. Questions from Roger. Authorization from a client is a text message or social media message acceptable for lodgement of STP event. Would that be?
I wouldn't have thought so. A social media. I would have thought, well, maybe if you can take a photo of it and print, keep a record of it. Tiana, would you think a social media response?
It's Roger. I would say that in a way, yes, but I would say conservatively, no, because look, unless you keep records of it, which is difficult to maintain, so it's up to you.
Yeah, I would have thought. I wouldn't have thought. I think. What I would suggest, which is what I normally suggest if you're not using the digital authorization through Gov Reports, which I think is great and you should use, but what I would do is I would send them the printout of the report and then ask them to email you so that they actually reply so that they get the original email, and then they can give you that authority by email. But text, you really need to, how are you going to make sure that you keep it? That's my issue with it. Tiana.
Okay, another question from Donna Tate. Will Gov Reports upload and read a CSV file from MYOB without us doing any manual entering of employees' information? Donna sent us a copy of the CSV from MYOB and we'll enable it. But like I said, at the moment we do have a template, and that's just a standard template across with all the labels from the ATO. It's likely it will be the same, but just check with us. Send us a copy, a sample file, and we'll confirm with you. Perhaps if MYOB does enable you to download the file as in CSV, perhaps we will set it up as a template going forward. Cool. Okay, another question in regards to from Joanne Williams, in regards to the authority to lodge for each lodgement, what is the situation if as the agent you run a zero file for a client including processing the payroll? Are you required to have an authority to lodge reports directly from the software?
I believe so. I believe it doesn't matter how you're lodging, that you need the authority to lodge before you lodge, and that is for anything that we lodge. That is the truth. Tiana?
Yep. So like I said, if you have copies of your client's approval, that's what the ATO is giving us the message at the moment, is that every lodgement event must be approved by the employee, like with authorization. So it's up to you how you want to maintain that. Okay, another question from Oja Savik. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Can you please explain how much information can be uploaded in the form of CSV file? Let's say another accounting software like MYOB. Do you still have to create each employee personal file in Gov Reports? No. So if you can download the file from the pay run events from MYOB, there is it's likely that you won't need to do anything else. Just upload the file, review the informations, and then send it off for authorizations. You won't need to enter any other details. But if you're doing it manually, yes, you will have to fill out all the details as you would with all the labels that's required for the single touch payroll report.
Tiana, one more information on that. On the CSV file. So the CSV file that the Gov reports can allow you to import n number of clients, n number of employees records in that. But what we will do is we will split up with 250 employees in each record. The reason is that it won't, we have it's a cloud-based application. To make it, considering the performance, we are splitting up into 250 employees in a single lodgement. And if there is more than 250 employees in a single CSV file, we'll split up into 2 reports.
Right, so it's unlikely, I would think, most of these guys are probably looking at smaller than 250 employees, so we'll probably be okay.
Okay, I have another question from Debbie Sullivan. Is this system suitable for job reporting where you are tracking how much labor is associated with different job projects?
I have no idea, Tiana. I'm passing all these to you.
Debbie, I'm not too sure whether you are an agent, but if you are, it is part of the office practice manager, and that if you create a job and you basically depending on the job template that you created, you will also be able to track different job and different projects. But it is it's another sessions that we can cover that. Okay, another questions. One more questions. Can you please explain how much information can be? Sorry. We already covered that. Okay, a question from Carissa Bell. Can the authorization for lodgement be obtained from the client at the time they provide the payroll information to us to prepare payroll, or after we have completed the payroll?
I believe you can have the authorization at either point, Carissa, that you can have it when they provide you the payroll information. If they've given you the information with their wage, the gross and everything like that, and then they're just asking you to do it in Gov reports, I believe you can get the authorization then. I'm not so sure if they're just giving you, like, he did 10 hours and you're working it out, whether you then need the authorization after you've done all the pay so the client can see what's being paid.
Okay, well, last questions from Laurie Puccini. Do you need to have IAM? Can we just send our report by MYOB or Xero, etc.? Laurie, if your client is using STP compliance software, certainly they can lodge from there, but it means that they are lodging from the client's software. It's up to you. If you are lodging on behalf of your clients, and if you want to keep records of your service lodgement service, you can import them, or you can download the pay run event and upload onto Gov reports from MYOB or Xero. IAM is not required. If they have MYOB or Xero or STP compliance software, certainly you do not need to have IAM. You can upload directly into Gov reports and lodge that report if you want to maintain that records.
See, one of the advantages I see of Gov reports is that if you've got clients who they either haven't got software or they haven't updated, which is the thing, and they don't want to update the software, that's where you're going to be able to take the payroll information and import it into Gov reports. Or you can do, which I have done for MTube files over the last few years, where I've got clients who haven't got the right software, and so, they've got, say, 3 people. I've gone in and used Gov reports to put that information in. It just means that you're going to do it now. Instead of I was only doing it once a year, you need to be looking at every time they get paid. Does that make sense, Tiana?
Yes, it does. So, okay. Three more questions. Does STP in Gov reports roll over employees' data as it doesn't keep employees' data and repayment summaries now? Do you mind if I answer that question?
No, please do.
Okay. So, sorry, that question was from Leanne Rath. Leanne, if you use Gov reports for lodgements and you use the manual data entry options, then you can roll over the data. Same with PAYG. If you do the manual options, you can roll over the details from your previous lodgements, roll over the details, and then make the adjustments of the figures. But if you upload the file, or import the file from other software, unfortunately, because we assume that you have other software where you have updates, then you need to, then we won't be keeping records of those employees. That means you won't be able to roll over the details, and it's just part of our workflow that it doesn't require, because it means that your client is using a software, and they can certainly give us an updated versions of the MDIP file, or in this case an STP event.
Cool.
Okay, I have another question. From Deborah. Deborah, I have a client which uses 2 payroll packages. Both packages are STP ready. We are planning to upload both payroll files for the company from next week and each payroll event going forward. What's the question? So I can't see the questions. What happens where there is no internet or NBN for the pay event or longer?
Well, that'll be interesting if you haven't got internet, because that's what it relies on. So I guess you just have to do it as soon as you have internet. And that will be, actually, yeah, that's a really interesting question, but you need to upload it as soon as you can, I'm imagining. Tiana?
Yeah, like I said, if they're using STP compliant software, that means they can lodge direct, but if there's no internet, then it's something that I think the ATO will also have to address as well for those clients that are in the rural area where internet is not unreliable. So Deborah, I don't really have an answer for that. Perhaps, this is a question for the ATO, to attend to, but we'll come back and let you know once we, as like anything new, there's always be, initial hiccups or a lot of queries that will be unanswered, and perhaps over time we will have an answer for that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
We need someone from the ATO here. Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question from Leanne as well. Will IAM be an additional cost? There are 2 versions of IAM in Gov reports. So the IAM business, basically, it means that if the client wants to maintain their own records and submit that to you, there will be a cost. Having said that, we are scheduled to release IAM single touch payroll in IAM for practitioners. As you know, if you are tax or BAS agents and currently using Gov reports, you notice from your App Center you do have access to IAM, and single touch payroll will progressively be added onto your accounts. And if depending on whether you're on Savvy or on agent or on demand, lodgements will be inclusive in the Savvy agent or Savvy practice, and for on demand it will be per lodgement. The IAM for tax practitioners with single touch payroll, like I've said, we are scheduled to release later this year, and you will be able to add clients and be able to manage their payroll. That in which case your clients will not have access. But if your clients request for access, then you need to invite them into Gov report for IAM business or IAM through the IAM portal, which for you to submit lodgements.
So Tiana, with that in mind, that slide that I've got on the screen now, the 50% annual subscription, that's the agent's annual subscription you're talking about, I assume.
That's correct. So at the moment for STP launch, we do have the special end of year or STP promo, and it's 50% for those new subscribers to subscribe. If they subscribe before 30th of June, they get the 50% off in the first year.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty good deal. I think so. So,
Okay,
Tiana, is there anything else that you want to say or any more questions that you want to?
I do have a few more. There are a lot of questions on the questions, and we haven't attempted to answer all of them. But due to time constraint, we will answer you privately post these sessions. So our apologies. Yeah, thank you everyone for attending these sessions, and we hope that we have assisted you, understanding our STP solutions, and looking forward to hearing from you and servicing you in the near future.
Yeah, thanks everybody. I appreciate you all being here.
Thanks you.
Tiana. Right. So Tiana, are you? Whoops. Whoops isn't the word. Are you going to stop or am I?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just trying to figure out which one. Okay. And let me see, how do I stop?
Okay, I'm going to end it now.
Okay. Thanks, Deborah.